What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Homie Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. And I've seen titles like this before and videos like this before. I don't think I've had to do very many, if any at all. But here we are, right? And people mess up sometimes. That includes me. I've said it all the time, and it should go without saying because it's common sense for everybody. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, and sometimes other people think I make mistakes, but I don't think so. Right? I think that's normal for everybody. But sometimes something gets pointed out and they're right. They're right. And I was wrong. And when you come out publicly, when you have a platform and you say something, and then you sit back and you're like, man, I shouldn't have said that, or that was out of pocket, or whatever the case may be, you have two options. You could sort of sit and think that to yourself. Okay, next time I'll be careful or whatever. Or you can come air it out, and I would rather air out my own dirty laundry than have somebody else do it. I don't have a whole lot of dirty laundry, but I make mistakes, man, and that's what happened here. So this is not a clickbait title. Sometimes they are. I've seen other videos where it's presented this way, and then you watch it, you're like, nah, it's not really what happened. This isn't. I was got at, and I was got at about a particular video. The video was this one. Well, I guess you're probably not gonna be able to see it, but see what it says. Is Stork? What was the title of the video? Is Stork's nephew trying to come back from SNY? And the thumbnail said, "Nuestra familia nephew ends hitman for Aryan Brotherhood." That was 7 days ago. All right, 7 days ago I made that video. I have committed to making a video for every day of the month of October, just as kind of a discipline for myself. And so it's October 4th. It's my fourth video of the month. This video you will not find because it is down. Took this video down. And I'm explaining to you why. Again, not something that I do often. And when I have taken videos down before, it's not usually because somebody gets at me. It's because I wind up getting upset and coming on here or letting my emotions get the best of me. I don't come on here and lie, right? I'll never put a jacket on somebody that didn't fit or anything like that. But it's just not the best look for the channel. It's normally drama with somebody else or whatever. And so let's take this shit down. Not in this case. So the video, I'm not going to go through everything I said in the video, but the gist of it is this. There's an individual named Matthew Perez, a nickname Trigger. Maybe it should be put that his former nickname is Trigger. I don't know that he still goes by that name now, but that is the name that he is most commonly known by in the streets and in the system. And he is the nephew of Stork, right? A individual that is widely understood to be an NF member. Okay, we'll put it that way. And I know people jumped in the comments on this video, not people, a person jumped in the comments on that video and said, he's not really Stork's nephew. You need to get your facts straight, blah, blah, blah. Nah, bullshit. He is, right? So, those facts were straight. And he was in a fight in was it Kern Valley, I think, last month. And a lot of people had done videos about this because it was a homicide in prison, right? And these days, all it takes is for somebody to lose their life in prison, and there's a half a dozen channels that are going to do a video and show you the press release and everything else. And I'm not saying that to put those channels down. I'm just saying that information is readily available, okay? And so a lot of people did videos because it was an incel fight that resulted in somebody losing their life. It was Matthew Perez and this dude Kober. Pretty sure his name is Kober. And I had seen it and heard about it, but I know people who know Matthew Perez, okay? Who know him from when he was general population, right? We're with him in Salinas Valley and elsewhere. People that were with him in the county jail back in the days. People who know him from the streets. And so I don't know him. I have never met him. I've never spoke to him. I don't think I've ever done time with him. But I'm aware of who he is. And I'm aware of who he is through these other folks who, these are people that don't really lie to me. And I'm not going to say that they lied to me now. I really don't. I don't think they did, right? So they kind of give me the rundown on this guy, right? Their perspective. And different individuals, and not all of those individuals know each other, and yet all of their information kind of lined up and painted a picture of this individual, Matthew Perez, right? Trigger. And so I took that and formed like a bit of a profile. Okay. And the reason the story was interesting to me was not just because of who his uncle is, but then also this white dude that ends up losing his life in the cell. He's from the Bay Area, like killed his buddy and buried him in a golf course by his house or whatever. Man, you living pretty good if you live by a golf course. But anyways, and caught life, went to prison, and a few years back was involved in a hit on the Devin Stringfellow dude, right? The guy from P9 who was killed supposedly on the orders of the Aryan Brotherhood based on the RICO indictment. This is not some shit that I'm exposing, right? I'm just going based on public record of the trial. And I guess he had aspirations of becoming a member. That's why he, one of the reasons, I guess, that he participated in whacking a dude. But instead of becoming an Aryan Brotherhood member, he became an S&Y inmate. So I don't know what the fuck happened there. But, and I referenced that in the story. And the thing is, I kick myself, man, for taking the video down, because there were some good points that I made in the video. I just rewatched it. And there are some good points that I made in the video. But, and that's where this video comes in. I spoke too loosely, and in looking at it back now, and so what happened is Trigger's family reached out to me, okay? And was like, hey, watch the channel, right? And I'm not going to get into all the specifics of the conversation. It's a private communication. So I'll talk generally, but honestly, and obviously they're going to watch it, right? So if I'm full of shit, you're going to see it in the comments. But they're like, look, man, watch your content. Normally like your videos. Be a little out of pocket on this one, and like, that's family. That's my loved one. And they'll know it wasn't Stork that reached out, just to be clear, but but loved ones, man. And it was like, hey, man, that stuff that you're saying and him wanting get backs and this and that, man, that shit ain't true. That ain't true. And the picture painting of him, that ain't a fair picture. And people have said that to me before and been full of it, just to be quite honest. But I don't think this person was. And this is where I messed up. Okay? Everybody that I know that knows Trigger and is familiar with him knows him and is familiar with him from when he was active, from when he was in the mix, right? And he lived a certain lifestyle then, okay? And that's the picture that I painted of him. And then I jumped to, his fool locked it up and whatnot, which he did. He went S&Y with locking it up. That's what it's called. Okay, that's not a derogatory way to put it. I don't, feel the need to have to sugarcoat stuff. But his motivation, maybe there was an element of some of the stuff that I said, maybe not. I can't say what exactly is in his mind. But what I didn't factor in, and I should have, because I know better, is he was tired of the lifestyle. And looking back now at the stuff that I'd heard and that, everything was really consistent with that. But I didn't point that out. The dude wanted a chance to go home. He was tired of the bullshit. And other people can debate all day long if that is the appropriate way or not to reflect that you're tired of the bullshit. I'm not a gang member. I'm not holding that against people. I'm not in prison. I'm not promoting a criminal lifestyle. I'm not promoting activities. I'm consistent about that on here all the time. So it's not my place to talk shit or clown a dude for locking it up. It's really not my place. Because that implies that my values lie somewhere other than what they are. He wanted to go home, and he felt that was what he needed to do in his life. And I say all the time, every individual has to decide whatever they think is best for themselves. And if you can look yourself in the mirror, hey, more power to you, right? And who agrees and who disagrees, you're never gonna please everybody. So that just is what it is. And in watching the video, I talked real loosely, and cavalier and kind of condescending, and was kind of mocking the dude. But it's based on old information. What I'm hearing now, and I believe it, is he was just tired, Holmes, and wanted a chance to come home, and so he went SNY. But in his time SNY, he's been over there a couple years, right? He's not using. He's gotten his life together. He's making some changes. He's been changing his lifestyle over there. And I didn't allow for that in my video. I didn't do that. And that was really kind of wrong of me, because I do believe that people can change. I believe in second chances, third chances, fourth chances. I believe that somebody can live a certain way and decide to stop living that way and authentically and effectively do that. And again, I think it's a little trickier when you're in prison and you're trying to do that, right? But the concept, the foundation of it, of like, man, I'm gonna grow up and do different and do better for my family, and my values and my priorities have changed. You gotta respect it. You gotta respect whether you respect how somebody goes about it or not. That's, I don't think he fucking cares, and I don't care. That's for every individual. But I do respect the desire for somebody to want to be more for their family and be more for themselves. And instead, I was kind of clowning him, like I was mocking him, and I didn't need to do that. It wasn't necessary for the video. It wasn't necessary to make some of the bigger points that I wanted to make. I just got a little too comfortable. And spoke a little out of turn. The other part is the incident in the cell. Right? Because I brought up like, damn, why these dudes that put in work on the SNY, on the mainline side, you go to the SNY side, like, how does this happen? And come to find out, Cobra blasted Trigger. Right? It's Trigger didn't pick that fight. He wasn't over there getting write-ups. He wasn't over there trying to be a tough guy. He wasn't over there trying to flex or do any of that shit. Right? He wasn't over there getting loaded. He was set up with this dude, and for reasons that I'm not entirely clear on, this dude Cobra decided that he was gonna blast Trigger and stabbed him multiple times. Got him in the back, literally stabbed him in the back a few times. I think got him in the arm, like got on his ass. And Trigger responded. And I said in my video then, and I'll say it now, I never did hear that, of all the stuff that I heard about him, I never heard that he was, not with the business in terms of willing to shed blood and all that other stuff. Now I don't think that's the definition of a man, but it is what it is. And in prison, where it's a violent environment, that matters. And sometimes we think, oh, well, folks lock it up or they go SNY and therefore they're not dangerous. Now, anybody can be dangerous, and especially you start stabbing them, right? There's two responses. You're either going to curl up or you're going to turn around and fight for your life. And Trigger did what, I think is respectable. And he turned around and fought for his life. And he won that fight. And Cobra didn't. It happens, okay? And in the video, I was, I extended condolences to Cobra's family. And like, hey, man, regardless of how you're living, to get that phone call from a loved one and blah, blah, blah. And I meant that. That wasn't bullshit. I meant that. What I didn't do is afford the same consideration to Trigger, okay? What about his wife and kids who have some hope that he's going to come home, have some hope that he's making lifestyle changes? And he is making those lifestyle changes. And they have hope that that's going to lead to him being released one day, right? And then you get a phone call, hey, man, you caught a body. The fuck? Right? So not the same kind of death, of course, but nonetheless traumatic for the family. And so I was I don't know either one of these individuals. I was quick to offer empathy for one party, if you will, but not the other one. And that wasn't fair on my part. That wasn't fair. And so, as soon as I get a message, right? I get a few messages. Made sure I got those messages, and I appreciate it. I'm saying it, and I'm laughing, but in all seriousness, I really do appreciate it because it was a reality check for me. And it's funny. I read the message to my old lady, right? And she tells me, she goes, you're lucky. You're lucky that they were as respectful as they were in getting at you. Because if it was me, I wouldn't have been that nice, and that's probably because you're not normally such an asshole in your videos. And she's right. I generally try to know better and be empathetic. And in this case, I wasn't. And there's a line there. When you're gonna make content and you're gonna talk about people that you don't know, there's a line. I like to believe that more often than not, and I'm not comparing myself to any other particular channel or people or whatever, but I'd like to believe that more often than not, I fall on the right side of that line. I do my homework. I come at you guys with facts. I don't come on here with the intent to disrespect people, even though sometimes it does come across that way, and I own that. But it's not my intention. I think more often than not, I get close to right, if not right. But that doesn't mean that I always get it right. And again, I didn't get it right on this one. So shouts out to his family. I appreciate them taking the time to get at me and point out that, hey, you know what? You like your tone, you're talking a little shit. And that hurt. Hurts his family, man. His loved ones watch these videos. And I try to keep that in mind. My lady, is familiar with the genre. She doesn't watch the content really, but she's familiar with the type of stuff that's talked about. And she is constantly thinking like, hey, do folks think of other people's families when you're talking? Right. And she's, she's definitely not a square. Right. And so she gets a lot of stuff. She understands a lot of stuff from personal experience. But she also understands a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, a lot of harm, and she's a mother and a grandmother and stuff, and just women sometimes are better wired at being empathetic, than men are, I think. Not all women and not all men, but so she is a sounding board for me sometimes. And she's a reminder of, hey, be careful, of what you're saying. And not be careful because of gangs or be careful because of this. Just be careful because is what you're saying shit that really reflects you and how you get down and how you are. And for the most part, it does, and some people like it and some people don't, and it is what it is. If you got weird charges against kids and you come on camera and you put yourself out there and you don't own your shit, then I'm gonna throw it in your face, right? And if you're a rat or a snitch or whatever, I might call you a rat or a snitch or whatever. It's not my fault that you fucking told it, yours, right? And I'm not judging you for it, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it either. It is what it is, right? But I try to be careful with my content, and I wasn't on this one. The family was right. They were right. And then watching back the video, I was like, he didn't have to say that. Yeah. If I was related to him and knew him and I was watching this and I seen this, I'd be a little upset too. And so it's a fair criticism. And there you have it, man. This is so that video's down. I believe that it's true that Trigger was attacked first, right? Matthew Perez. I think that's true. I did hear, and I said in the video, right, that both guys were wounded. But I implied that he did it. And again, I kind of mocked him, right? Oh, maybe this and oh, maybe that. I shouldn't have done that. That was extra. And I'm not an active gang member. I'm not in the mix. It's not I don't carry the flag for nobody. I stand on my own principles. And so there you have it, man. Help others move with excellence. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time because you're worth it. Help your community because they need you. And again, my apologies. my apologies to the Matthew Perez family. I hope those of you who really couldn't even stomach the last video I did, you don't have an easier time with this one, man. So again, I apologize, and I hope that he has a chance to take this to trial and has a chance to beat this. You know, self defense is real. You know, and I'm all about defending people in court. I'm not about prosecuting people, but I am about defending people in court. And I hope that he's able to put on the defense that he has coming, regardless of his fucking status. I don't give a shit about that. Sounds like self defense to me, man. So anyways, man, there you have it. Like I said, help us move the excellence. That's what homies do. Stay tuned.